It's time for another Monster of the Week. This week we're going to be talking about Xorn, the neutral, hungry, earth-gliding creature that is definitely going to spice up your gaming session. These are several things you need to know before you run a Xorn in your D&D game. First of all, what did I mean when I said neutral, hungry? Xorn are actually not evil creatures. They are neutral aligned, which means this doesn't necessarily have to be a combat every time. When I said neutral hungry, Xorn is likely to be encountering players because it's hungry. Xorn can sniff out precious metals and gems, which are its food source, from up to 60 feet away, and this can be sniffing it through rock. So a Xorn is likely to come across your players because they have a large stash of gold or gems in their possession, and the Xorn is just trying to get food. Our complication arises with the fact that Xorn only speak in Terran. Terran, when I'm playing my games, I describe as basically the sound of a gravel mixer, a cement mixer, gravel grinding, rumbling noises, drumming. So definitely something unfamiliar to most humanoid races in the Swords Coast and in Faerun. This is where you're going to run into complications. So it can be a fun roleplay where you try to describe how the Xorn is attempting to get to the gold or gems in the player's bags. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in an aggressive way to start with. The Xorn will get progressively more aggressive as it discovers that the players are not speaking its language and are resisting its attempts to eat their gold. But this should start off as a fun game of tug of war as the Xorn attempts to grab someone's bag and rifle through it, or snatch someone's coin pouch off of their belt. It could be a fun little scene. Now, if/when your Xorn encounter inevitably becomes combat, the Xorn are an actual powerhouse in combat. They have a whopping 4 attacks, a 3 multi-attack with their claws, because they have 3 arms, and a bite attack on top of that, which can dish out some pretty serious damage if they can get close. They would use their Earth Glide ability to get in close. The Xorn can actually swim through stone straight up to the players. When the players do go to return fire, they will discover the secret weapon of the Xorn is they are literally made from rock. They have a natural 19 armor class and resistance from piercing and slashing damage. The only damage that they take full damage from in terms of weapon attacks is bludgeoning damage, and it's not a vulnerability, it's just they take regular damage from bludgeoning. This makes them quite challenging, especially for a low level party with no magical weapons, especially with no adamantine weapons. These can be really frustrating to deal with, and the Xorn should opt for negotiation over combat every day of the week. It can be even more frustrating to kill the Xorn because if they are losing, they can just Earth Glide away. They can just submerge into the rock and disappear. The only way to stop them from doing that is by surrounding them with worked stone or another substance that they can't move through. Because Earth Glide typically only works through natural rock. A Xorn is also quite slow. They have only a 20-foot move speed. Obviously they can dash 40, but their main movement is their Earth Glide, so they really want to be submerging to resurface under the players or near the players to get what they want, rather than having them move across the surface or unburrowing themselves to walk on their little stumpy legs to attack players. That is definitely not their preferred form of movement and would only happen in dire situations. Unless these Xorn were super desperate, I doubt they would actually follow players over worked stone. They would choose to go somewhere else to get an easier meal. Think of these like massive cows, they just want to graze They just want to graze on crystals and gems in natural pastures, like they would have on their home plane of elemental earth. They would have huge fields of crystals and gems to devour in their own time at a leisurely pace. Chasing after adventurers with a handful of gold coins is not their main priority. They will defend themselves, but if they're losing the battle, they will flee. And if because they're intelligent, right? They've got an intelligence of 11, so they're not stupid. They're smarter than your average bear, boo-boo. If you have an idea for another monster for us to do, please drop it in the comments below.